You're listening to a Frequency Podcast Network production.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Welcome to Friday. My name is Brock.
I'm Dalby.
Have you ever watched that Bridgerton show before?
I have heard of it. I don't know what it is, what it's about, but I'm told it's pompous British stuff.
That's exactly what it is.
Okay.
It's also like the horniest TV show I've ever seen in my entire life.
I would like you to tell me more.
I came back from vacation and Courtney's been binge watching the shit out of this show.
Oh no.
Dude, all it is like you said, like pompous British people,
Yeah.
like those white wigs. I don't know, I guess like Elizabethan era.
Parliamentary.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Dude, and all they do is smash. That's all they do. Dudes are like banging on the stairs and stuff, like on statues and everything. Like Courtney's watching and she's like, I really like this show. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Like this, it's kind of like if you stayed up late and watched like City TV when you were a kid and they'd show like the low class like smut there. Like,
I am familiar, yes.
yeah. Where you didn't really see anything, but you saw something. You know?
Enough was implied to get you where you needed to go, so to speak.
Yeah. Dude, I swear to God, like every time I look up from my phone,
Yeah.
someone is boning on this show. Like,
You know what the thing is, though, is like, what a weird time period to set something that's so obviously horny in a time period where you had to go through 18 layers of clothes to get naked.
also a time period where no one bathed. Like maybe they bathed like twice. It'd be the stinkiest sex scenes of all time.
Nobody ever talks about that part of the lore. Why are there so many flies on set? Don't ask questions.
Sorry, my love, let me take out my wooden teeth.
God.
If you're looking to spice things up this weekend, watch an episode of Bridgerton. That should
Skip a shower or two.
should get things going, yeah.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
By now, I'm sure we've all heard the story of the young lady who got smoked in the face by a foul ball at the Jays game recently.
Yeah, if you missed this, Bo Bichette hits a foul ball 110 miles an hour off the bat, they say, is how fast this thing was going. And it popped right in the face some gal named Liz McGuire.
Yeah, Lizzie McGuire. I didn't even think about Lizzie McGuire.
This is the first thing that came to my head. I was like, no, not that Lizzie McGuire.
She went on social media because like someone took the ball from her or whatever.
Yeah.
So she was asking if she could get anything from the Jays. The Jays are being awesome. They're hooking her up with tickets. I think an autograph ball as well.
Well, I think the least Bo Bichette can do for disfiguring this poor girl is sign a baseball.
Yeah. Give her one of his headbands or something. She's actually now getting
Cover it up.
Yeah. She's getting her own trading card now. Have you seen this?
I saw it. Was it Topps?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
card company. And the best part is, because I mentioned the 110 miles an hour off the bat, that's how many cards they're making to give to her, is one for each mile an hour.
Oh, no way. I thought it was like she was getting a one of one. That's awesome.
They're giving her a set of 110 of these cards, which is cool. She said she's going to, like, obviously want to keep some. She's going to sell some because they are a bit of a collector's item.
Yeah.
And give the money to, it's some sort of charity for, like, children's concussion research.
Oh, that's cool.
So it seems like she's a pretty cool person, but, like, shout out to Topps. When's the last time a card company got this much publicity for doing something cool?
Yeah, no, and the card looks sick too because it's just her selfie that she took with that huge goose egg.
And the bit of the black eye underneath.
Yeah.
She's looking tough in that card.
I wonder what it says on the back. Like, do you think there's stats on there where it's like foul balls caught 0 for 1?
You got to put the chirp in there, right? Like you can put like in the description about like how tough she is or the charity aspect or all these other things, but there has to be, you're right, at least some sort of chirp that's like balls dropped 1.
Yeah.
One error. That's one career
It's an error. Foul ball average 0.000.
Hit my pitch.
I wish just everyday people honestly had sports cards. You like had the stats on the back. Like,
What would your card say?
I mean, I guess you gotta have like height, weight,
Sure.
maybe marital status on there. It's just like a Match.com profile.
It's
you know?
your Tinder bio. Yo, honestly, ladies, tell me if I'm wrong on the text line.
Yeah.
If a guy walked up to you at a bar and hits you instead of with like trying to hit you with his phone number or a Tinder profile, just slipped you a baseball card with a nice profile picture and on the back had like his stats and contact
His
info.
upper deck profile.
Would that not maybe catch your attention? I feel like if a guy just respectfully sends a drink across the bar with one baseball card tucked in, I think that's a move.
I guess it depends on the stats. As long as like the height's the only thing that we're talking about, like lengthwise, then that's okay.
Yeah. Height. We'll keep it at height and weight, and length is something you have to subscribe to find.
Put
out.
your credit score on there. DUIs would be a good one, actually. How many DUIs do you got?
Instead of your like batting average, it's your criminal record printed on the back. It's like, wow, this is pretty clean. I'm just saying.
It's essentially just an insurance portfolio is all it is. Yeah.
How many times you've tested positive for anything?
Yeah, maybe not.
I think if you have those stats, you maybe keep them to yourself.
Sure.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
You ever deal with a sleepwalker?
No, I don't think so.
I think that my oldest child had a sleepwalking episode the other day.
Oh, really?
I was sitting, it was Wednesday night earlier this week. I was sitting down in my office after they had gone to bed, getting some stuff ready for the show, when all of a sudden my kid walked into my office. I kind of heard them plunking around just outside the office, which is almost like a play area for the kids.
Yeah.
And I was like, it is 10 o'clock. What are you doing? Who's out there? They come in, and they're like, hey. I'm like, why are you awake? And they go, I'm looking for the floaty toys. Huh? I said, the floaty toys? It's 10:30 at night. What floaty toys? I don't know. I was like, what are you talking about? The toys that float for, like, the bathtub. Like, we don't have bathtub toys. You're almost 10 years old.
With their eyes open?
Eyes wide open, looking me in the eye.
Oh, that's creepy.
Full face. We have this whole conversation. They cannot explain what they're trying to find, but they're trying to find some sort of floaty toy.
Yeah.
And finally, I'm like, it doesn't matter if we can find them or not. It's bedtime. You got to go to bed. And they go, okay, give me a big hug, and then go back up 2 flights of stairs, crawl into bed, sleep for the night. Yesterday, I picked them up from school. I'm like, did you ever figure out what floaty toys you were looking for?
Didn't remember a thing.
Looks me dead in the eyes and goes, what the hell are you talking about? I had to tell them all the stuff that had happened. And I have never experienced a sleepwalker before, but I was fully convinced that they were just being awake and weird because their eyes so open, so responsive.
Either sleepwalking or your child is possessed by a demon who just wants to go in the bath.
Okay, why do we at first it was just weird because it's sleepwalking. Now you got me worried if I have to give an exorcism to my kid.
I don't know anything about sleepwalking. It's the eyes open thing that makes me think that there might be a possession upon you.
Right, I always thought like sleepwalking was like eyes closed, wandering around, almost like zombie-esque shuffling.
Did you ever learn the history of the house?
I didn't. I know that I bought the house from an older lady who raised a family there. She had mentioned that her husband had passed away, but
in the bathtub?
She didn't say it was in the house. I would have known if someone had died in the house, right? They have to disclose that, don't they?
We're actually getting a few texts from people in here right now that are saying they've had sleepwalkers, and it's usually eyes wide open kind of thing. So, might not be possession, but don't rule it out.
Okay.
Don't rule it out.
Keep it in mind.
Don't rule it out. Keep some sage on hand or something.
You know what? I have some sage in the house. You know what's weird? We just smudged the house for the first time last weekend. And now this is happening.
You opened the door.
Did we awaken demons in our home?
Sometimes that goes one of two ways, brother.
Do I have to smudge again? Do I just smudge Alex? Is that just stand next, waving the smoke at them? Like,
fill that bathtub with holy water, dude. That's what you gotta do, man. Sleepwalking is terrifying. I mean, I never got to witness it, but apparently my sister used to do it when I was like really little. My mom used to say she'd catch her in the garage.
What? Doing what?
Just walking around.
Just chilling.
Just walking around the garage, opening the car doors, my mom said.
How old?
I would have been like 3 or 4, so I guess my sister would have been like 6 or 7.
Oh, okay, because I was going to say, are we sure your sister wasn't just doing like garage darts and trying to lie to your mom about it? But 6 or 7, probably not.
I don't know. You never know. You never know. Some kids are pretty badass.
Growing up in Milton, Hamilton. You know, maybe at 7 years old you have a Pall Mall.
Actually, like a fantastic excuse if you're like a teenager and you get caught sneaking out. It's like, huh?
Yeah. But the problem is if you're fully dressed, like if you're sneaking out
Some
to go
people
somewhere.
do weird stuff like that, though. Like they'll put on their clothes, right? Yeah.
You know what? Actually, you're right. I don't know why I'm being like, oh, that would never work. I just watched a child walk down 2 full flights of stairs and start rooting through a toy box. Anything is possible.
Yeah, yeah. Like if you were like a piece of garbage and you're like cheating on your wife or something, you come on. What is it? Wait, what's going on right now?
I think in that situation, sleepwalking is not a believable excuse, but I like where your head is.
I've been here the whole time.
How did I get in here?
Oh, my beautiful wife. So good to see you. 762-555. Has anyone ever had any experience with sleepwalkers before? Got any weird stories for us?
I've never dealt with this with anyone in my life before. It didn't happen last night. I did double check.
I don't know if it's true or not, but the thing I've always heard is you're not supposed to wake them up.
That's right. I wouldn't even know, though. Like, I don't know what else. I had a conversation, a hug, and sent them on their way. Mm-hmm. Like, I guess the only other thing I could have done is just like...
How do you separate the difference between waking them up and the demon, like, leaving them, though?
Do I have to smudge my child this weekend?
I don't know. Talk to a priest, brother.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
We've got a good friend of the show, Tracy Pumps, on the phone. Now, you claim that you used to be a sleepwalker, right?
I did. I was very bad at it. When I had my first apartment, I woke up outside of my apartment, almost outside, and it was the middle of winter. And if I had have actually gone outside, the door would have locked behind me and I would have froze.
Oh, my God. With those apartment buildings.
Did you wake up yourself, or did someone wake you up?
I woke up myself when I put my hand on the cold doorknob going outside.
I was going to say, yeah, you get that sudden blast of cold from winter, and all of a sudden your body's like, hey, yo!
Oh, God.
Yeah, whoa, wake up now.
This was all fun and games, but let's stop.
So do you still sleepwalk now, or?
I actually, since being hypnotized to stop, I've only done it once since then.
Well, what do they do to hypnotize you to stop sleepwalking?
Well, when you're hypnotized, they can place suggestion into your head.
Basically, yeah, the hypnotist would just, like, they'd hypnotize you and they'd be like, hey, how about you stay your ass in bed?
just don't move at night.
How about you just chill, huh?
Imagine being someone in your apartment seeing that, too.
Yeah, it's strutting down the hallway. I assume in pajamas.
That crazy lady in 4B just always seems to go for a walk at like 2 a.m.
Yeah, hopefully in pajamas, I guess I should say.
Yeah, thank God for pajamas.
Sleepwalking is a much more dangerous game for some people.
Yeah, if you're a sleepwalker, you can't be sleeping naked.
No,
Yeah.
No, you got to know your limit.
You're going to catch a charge.
Well, thanks for chatting with us, Tracy Pumps. I mean, thinking about it now, there is probably precautions you have to take if you are a sleepwalker before you go to bed.
100%. I mean, you got to, if you know that you're going to get up and you're going to be mobile, maybe if you've got stairs, you don't need a kid to buy a baby gate. Maybe you put it up to keep you from going down the stairs.
You go and sleep over at a guy or girl's house, and you see they got like chains and stuff like that.
You're into some
not
stuff,
because they're kinky.
Oh, you sleepwalk.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I assume that's on me.
Oh,
that's
you
my
get freaky
bad.
on a different level.
Yeah.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
We've had a few instances with my stepdaughter, and a few times we've woken up, she's standing like at the end of our bed just staring at us.
Oh, God.
Jesus.
Yeah, and we'd be like, go back to bed. She's like, oh, okay. And then there was one time I woke up, it was my husband was away, and she starts pulling, like I felt something pulling at my toes, and I wake up and she's standing up there into the bed pulling at my toes.
Just like this little piggy went to market, this little piggy stayed home stuff?
It was just weird. It was like she was just kind of just pulling up at them like she was playing with dough or something. I was like, what are you doing? And she's like, I don't know. And I was like, go to bed. Okay.
Does the whole thing I said about sleepwalking and people being possessed by demons not to seem like it has a little bit more correlation now?
Yeah, it was really creepy.
Be careful, I guess.
Yeah. Maybe wear some socks to bed.
Yeah, I kind of like curl my feet up, kind of in the fetal position now, so.
Them damn step kids, you can never trust them, you know?
Oh, God.
Sometimes.
That's a great way to assert your dominance if you have like a new parent in the house.
I was going to say, man, I don't care if it's like my own kids, my girlfriend's daughter. If someone starts pulling at my feet while I'm sleeping, someone's catching one of these big Kevin Nash boots. Like, I'm sorry.
You don't like your mom's boyfriend a little too much? You just start whispering stuff in his ear in the middle of the night?
And then when they're like, what are you doing? Just be like, I was sleepwalking. Because if you're sleepwalking, people can't get mad at you.
Yeah.
You're not in control.
Well, that's the thing is like we're getting a lot of stories about people texting in about their kids peeing in places.
Apparently, that's a huge thing, according to 762-555.
Like we got one from Brad here. He says, my youngest every once in a while actually gets undressed, walks around the house, and pees in the most random places.
Just in the buck.
He said, the last one, me and my wife were on the couch watching a movie, and he walked out of his room naked and just peed and started laughing.
That's another one. The laugh would make me question if he's really sleepwalking.
It's such a trip on like the different triggers that people have while they're sleepwalking. And like the thing is can you get mad at someone for doing that?
That's what I'm saying. I don't think you can. I think you can be frustrated. If someone walks out into your living room and pees on your floor, you can obviously be unhappy that happened. But if they're sleepwalking, it's not like they came out and they did it. They were like, hey, guess what I'm going to do? Whee!
It's just a tough thing to explain to the person that owns the Airbnb. You know? Right?
I guess if you're going over to like somebody else's house, do you have to disclose that to them? Be like, hey, thank you for having me, my family over. Just to let you know, my 9-year-old over here likes to pee.
Is your kid allowed to sleep over at other people's houses? Is it like when you drop your kids off and you're like, hey, they have a nut allergy, like just be careful. But in this case, they're like, hey, like maybe chain my kid up when they're going to bed.
You pull up to the sleepover, you bring the kid in, like, hey, here's like their change of clothes. Here's some restraints to keep them in the bed so they don't pee in your closet.
I will say, I think at a certain age, you could get mad at your kid and be like, hey, Fuller, slow down on the Pepsi before bed, kind of thing, you know?
That's true. If you are a sleepwalker, long established, and you've got an MO, if people know, like, when you wake up in the night, you're going to go and pee somewhere, it's like no water after 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Don't go to bed until you've gone to the bathroom.
Yeah. If you're prone to, like, getting into the car, maybe put your keys in a higher spot or something like that.
Somewhere you've got to put in, like, a code or something.
After a certain point, it's like you're kind of being selfish with your sleepwalking.
That's right. You got to be a responsible sleepwalker.
Not everybody can look out for you the whole time, all right? It's a two-way street, buddy.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Saw a story in, I think it was on CTV or something like that. You know Boeing, the plane company, and they had that whole scan of their doors were blowing off and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's been a bad year for planes.
Not great. So apparently that's caused them to fall behind on like shipping planes to airplane companies, airlines, because they're trying to make sure that doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
WestJet has released a story that apparently they're looking to the quote-unquote used plane market. And I'm sure that's not a weird thing in the world of aviation. But am I wrong in saying that the idea of a used plane feels weird?
Well, I'll tell you this. If I'm buying a ticket, I mean, flights are hell of expensive across this country.
Yeah.
If I'm getting on a used plane,
I would like a discount.
I'd absolutely like. If I'm getting on one of your pre-owned planes, I'd love to see the price drop down a smidge.
Like when you go to the booking agent, you'd be like, show me the plane facts. I want to see what this plane
should be able to purchase a ticket for a new plane or a pre-owned plane. I mean, just with the money that they charge us, I mean, they should be able to afford new parts, new planes.
If you're going to the used plane market, then I think that should reflect in the cost of the flight.
It's a damn plane, not an old Honda Civic, dude.
It just feels weird. And again, like I'm certain with all the checks and balances in the airline industry.
You get onto the plane, he's like, oh, we're going to be reaching about 32,000 feet. Don't mind that smell. That's from the previous owners. We've got low mileage on this thing, although the gas does seem to run a little bit faster, so we'll keep you posted.
Don't worry, it was elderly flown. They took real good care
Got
of
a lot of highway miles on this thing, just in case you're wondering there.
There's something about if you told me that this was a used flight, a used plane, I would be more nervous. I'm not a nervous flyer, but I feel like that would be what pushes me over the edge.
Well, even I get nervous when I go on planes and you can tell that they have like the old cigarette ashtrays welded on.
Right. You're like, when's the last time this plane got serviced? Mm-hmm. Did you buy this used off Kijiji?
Like if these walls could speak, they've seen some stuff, dude. Yeah.
It just makes me think of like people who buy like mattresses off Facebook and stuff like that. It's like some things are just, once you call it used, I can't get on board with it anymore.
I feel like the only time I can ever willingly sleep on a mattress I know someone else has is at a hotel, or if you're staying at someone's house for that matter. But like buying a gently used mattress is gross.
I've slept in mattresses for 40 years. Yeah. I wouldn't call any of them gentle.
There is a whole market for like used lingerie. I see it all the time on Facebook Marketplace. It's such a trip.
I will go on Facebook Marketplace to just see like, are there any local deals, anything that maybe you could use for the kids or whatever. And as soon as I see someone post underwear or undergarments of any kind, swimsuits is another one.
Yeah.
That's it. I log off. I'm like, I'm not doing any more shopping today. Y'all are out of pocket for this.
With the swimsuits, it's like, show me the PFAX. Like, I mean, all you need to do is see the liner. If it's got a little bit of yellow, it's a dead giveaway right there.
That's a dead giveaway. We cannot do business here today.
I just don't know how you could be like, you know what, honey? I got you a little something I want you to put on.
Yeah.
Got a great deal at Facebook Marketplace. Can't believe this lady was selling it for $30.
You have to take that to the grave, right? Yeah. If you buy the missus or your significant other some sort of sexy outfit off of the internet.
Let's get real. I'd say majority of the fellas that are buying lingerie off of Facebook Marketplace aren't buying it for a lady. They're using it for their own personal matters, you know?
You may have a point.
Right? Right?
You may have a point that I would not like to expand.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Got a friend of the show, James, on the phone. What's something you should never buy used?
Yes, a used jock for hockey equipment.
Absolutely.
Does your son need a jock? And I asked him, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. Never talk to me or my son again.
You could wash that thing a million times.
Dude, I bought...
You can't get it out.
I bought him a brand new one. Like, for a 10-year-old playing hockey, even when you go to take the jock out and wash the girdle, you can still smell like ball, sweat, and pee.
The memory still remains, as Metallica once said.
Oh, yeah, I'm still horrified. This was last season.
Cheers, James.
Honestly, though.
I think you can buy most used hockey equipment. I'd say jocks and helmets are no-goes.
Right, yeah. And a pair of shoulder pads, some hockey pants. Hockey socks, I'm a little bit... Anything with feet is weird to me.
I mean, you're sweating in all parts of it, but just like the jock specifically is so custom.
That's just it.
You know?
It's worn in a certain way. And the other thing is, not only just for like the hygiene, the smell, the cleanliness, any of that stuff that might be a hang-up, you don't know how many times that kid's been hit, right? The kid that wore it before. You don't know the structural integrity of a secondhand jock.
Yeah.
That's a place where I want to know that I've got warranty pending coverage.
I think that's the closest you would ever get to wearing another man's skin. Is wearing another man's jock.
You know what? When you say that, not that either of us is big on this sort of thing, would you buy a secondhand wetsuit or diving suit?
Oh, no, that's too close.
I was going to say, you want to talk about
that's
wearing
too
someone
tight.
else's skin.
Yeah, that's way too tight.
That's been everywhere.
Yeah.
That's explored a person.
I don't like that at all.
But you'll see it, right? In certain areas, certain markets, you'll see secondhand diving gear, including wetsuits, surf suits, that sort of thing, up on Kijiji or Craigslist.
I would not trust secondhand diving gear, especially like a tank or anything like that. It's like, dude, that's like buying a used parachute. You'd have to be insane to do something like that, right?
You would definitely need some steep assurances that I think the average person could not give you.
Anything like that, like hang gliding equipment or something,
Yeah.
I don't trust. If someone's selling it, I don't think you could trust it.
Even at the smallest level, you already said it. It's helmets for things like if you've got a bike helmet, a hockey helmet, a football helmet.
Well, what's that thing? I remember being told when I was a kid that you can only drop your helmet so many times until you need a new one.
They've got a shelf life. They're designed to take X amount of impact, and then they're not as safe as when they're bought new.
Well, it's the same thing with like hats. Like buying a hat off, I don't know.
It's one of those things. A hat is such a hard thing to wash, especially like to have it wash and come out in its shape and stuff like that. That I just feel like I just wouldn't be able to trust anyone selling me a used hat that they got it clean enough.
Mm-hmm.
Someone texted in bed sheets, and that's another one.
Ew.
I know how hot my washing machine and my dryer can get. Not hot enough.
Yeah.
You need a flamethrower to clean someone else's sheets.
That's one of those, like, if these walls could speak, dude, if these sheets could speak, you wouldn't want to know.
Dude, that's even like when you're moving in with somebody, it's probably a good idea to just let's just go and buy new sheets that are specific to us.
Mm-hmm.
Just let's erase all possibility of previous employment. Let's get new sheets for everybody.
I've never thought about that. How many people get into relationships and are sleeping on previous lovers' sheets still?
Previously used sheets.
Yeah. Previously experienced sheets
That's
at
right.
that.
All been washed, all been dried, all been the normal laundry. But someone farted in those sheets.
I would be more mad if I started dating Courtney and say she had been previously married.
Sure.
I would be more mad if she still had the same sheets than if she still had the wedding ring. That would piss me right off if I was like, are you serious?
Wait, are these sheets from your marriage?
You're telling me 5 years of love? And we're still using these? Those got to go out in the divorce, dude.
Those got to be, that's day one.
Burn those.
You got to get rid of sheets from a previous relationship if it got that far.
The Brock and Dobby Podcast.
Even dating someone is like kind of gross.
I guess if you consider a human being to be used, previously owned, yeah, sure.
I meant like the sheets are still going to be kind of used.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
What was the word you used earlier? Previously experienced?
I would say coffee mugs.
Coffee
Like
mugs?
the tops of the coffee mugs, you can't quite get that all clean underneath the rubber and stuff.
Like the thermos style ones.
Dude, even Tupperware, man. Like, once you get, like, eat pasta once.
Yeah.
Or like the red stained ones. Like,
Yeah.
So basically what I'm getting from the two of you here, there's a theme between all the things you've named. It's essentially anything with a seal or a gasket you're not on board with sharing.
Exactly, yeah.
Hey, well, thinking about it now, as humans, we're all just Tupperware containers stained with spaghetti, all right?
Yeah.
Who are we to judge?
I'm not fat, I'm stained with food residue.
You can try and clean us all you want, but the stains still remain, dude.
This is the Brock and Dobby Podcast.
Ed's word of the day.
Let's see what he's got.
Good morning. Today's word is wifty. Yeah, wifty. W-I-F-T-Y. Wifty. And it's silly or inane. Yeah, I know some pretty wifty people. Anyways, have a great one. Cheers her up.
I thought he was saying Swifty. And I was like, why is his word of the day Taylor Swift related?
See, I thought he was saying Swifty like the Rick and Morty thing. That's what I thought he was going with.
Which, to be fair, inane would be a fair description sometimes on that show.
So Wifty is just basically being silly?
You're just a silly goose.
Yeah.
Which I think is a better way of saying it than calling someone wifty. Because I think this is one of those situations where the word itself is innocuous, right? It just means like, you're being silly.
Yeah.
But if you come up to me and you call me wifty and I don't know what Ed's word of the day was today, I'm going, what the hell did you call me?
Well, I mean, even if you were to use it and like, I don't know, say you messed up at work today and you're like, hey, is this right? And someone goes, don't be so wifty.
I had a bit of a wifty moment today. Sorry about that.
Yeah. You know someone who's still trying to be a rapper from high school? Call him Wifty Cent. Keep that one. We all know one kid from high school who's still trying.
You got one friend who's got a SoundCloud that you don't wish you knew about, but you check it out sometimes.
Yeah, get Wifty or die trying. Wifty. Use it wherever you can today, all right?
For more Brock and Dalby, tune in weekday mornings 5:30 to 9.
The Brock and Dalby podcast is brought to you by badshop.ca, the Brock and Dalby merch store. With all proceeds going to the Canadian Cancer Society.